Rainbow Six Siege is a very difficult game. And if you don't pick the right operators, you can be the reason why your team loses. Every single rank plays differently. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the best operators for every single rank in Rainbow Six Siege. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys like, sub, and comment, and share to a friend. And let's get into it. Starting off my first pick for Copper, I'm going to say Lesion. Even with his recent nerf, Lesion is hands down one of the best operators overall. And you might see him multiple times on today's list. The reason why I'm picking Lesion is because his versatility, not only with his goo mines, but even with his utility. Even him losing his impact grenades, he still has a bulletproof cam, and he's able to make rotates and lines of sight with his secondary shotgun. Not only that, but the T5 is one of the best SMGs in the game, and using his goo mines, you can do so much. You can either use his goo mines only for sound intel, or you can use it for lethal damage, and you can stack them up. You can do lots of great things with this utility, and no matter what rank you play in, let's be honest, Legion's a solid pick. Next up is going to be Frost. In these ranks of Copper, I think one of the best operators besides Lesion would be Frost, and that's because Frost's overall kit allows you to do well and allows your teammates to even be able to use your utility. For example, even if you die, as long as you place your frost mats in your shield, your teammates can act off that intel, and that can actually save a lot of you guys, because if people hit frost mats, they're basically going to die. And if they get out of the frost mats, then they're going to have to limp around. So it's a win-win situation, especially in Copper, where a lot of people might not drone as much as the higher ranks in the game, because a lot of people are new in this rank. So if you're struggling, I would definitely suggest these two operators starting out, because traps are super powerful in this game. My third pick would be Thunderbird, and this might be a surprising pick for a lot of people because Thunderbird's considered one of the worst operators in Siege, but in my opinion, Thunderbird is actually underrated. Even though I don't like her gun, which is the spear, I use the spaz shotgun, you're able to heal your teammates passively no matter what happens. As you can tell, these operators that I mainly picked on defense is for passive abilities that work even if you die. Now, unlike Lesion, if you are placing your utility down, you can literally go run around and die. Lesion, you're going to have to stay alive for the entire round to actually get the full advantage out of the kit. Next up for Copper is going to be Kapkan. The reason why Kapkan is because I feel like traps in general are so good, especially against enemies who either are aggressive or they don't know how to drone properly. And with Kapkan, you can get really random. You can place your EDDs across the map, or you can play them around site and play off of them. There's so much you can do with Kapkan, and there's really no downside. It's not like your teammates can hit the EDDs and they'll get hurt. It's literally only enemies. The only thing I would suggest is don't reinforce at the start of a round while using Kapkan. Get your EDDs down and get any reinforcements down once you do all of that, because prep time takes so freaking long with Kapkan. Next up is going to be Aruni. The reason why I'm picking Aruni, kind of just like Kapkan, is because the trap operators rail supreme on defense. And not only that, but once you throw your Aruni gates down, as long as the enemies aren't bringing Bravo cams, you are going to be lethal even if you die in game, because your teammates can reset the Aruni gates, and this can be a huge pain in the ass as an attacker late round to try to get in sight and push through Aruni gates. So that's it. And you can make lines of sight just by punching walls and whatnot. My next pick is going to be Mute. Mute is my favorite operator in Rainbow Six Siege on the defensive side, and the reason why is because his mute jammers and overall kit is so satisfying. Using the SMG-11 and his shotgun allows you to play very versatile and aggressive. Mixing that with a C4, you can get easy frags from below, and his mute jammers, if you're facing enemies that do use utility, you can not only deny walls, but you can deny anybody getting drones into the map, which is very important, and I think it's an important lesson to learn as you learn Siege, because once you get into higher ranks, you're going to see operators like Mute played almost every single game. Now, for my very first pick for Silver is going to be Cade. The reason why I'm picking Cade is because in Silver, from what I've played and witnessed, is that Silver players are actually a lot more strategic and smart in that manner, but Cade is a pain in the butt to get rid of. As long as you're banning operators like Thatcher, you can really do some damage with some cheeky Cade claw tricks and spots. So bringing Cade is definitely a W, especially because he is the best wall denial overall. So as you progress in ranked, you're going to see a lot more of him as well. My next pick is going to be Valkyrie, and the reason why I'm picking Valkyrie for silver ranking is because Valkyrie is one of those operators that even if you die, or even if you don't have teammates that calm, at least they can give you Z pings and get on cams and even red pings late round. Information is key in a game like Siege, no matter if it's visual intel or sound intel. So bringing Valkyrie right now would be really good in this rank because silvers have a really hard time identifying util as much as they have a hard time shooting their gun. My last pick for silvers is going to be Aruni. Just like what I explained with bronzes, I think Aruni is one of the best passive operators that you can bring on defense because you can just throw your gadget down and still be super useful even if you die early on in the round. And silver, from what I've noticed, is players are either very strategic or they're super slow and they wait until the last 5 seconds on attack to push inside the site. So having Aruni gates could be very useful for enemies trying to get in. You can just have your teammates reset the gate, or if you're alive, you can reset it. And the DMR on defense is overpowered. My very first pick is going to be Doc for gold players. The reason why I'm picking Doc is because Doc is a frag machine. You can either play him for the team and sit around site and anchor and just wait to heal your teammates, or you can be an aggressive Doc player like a lot of Rainbow Six Siege players, and you can use the Doc stems on yourself. It's really up to you, but I feel like his overall kit is the reason why I'm also putting him on this list. He has barbed wire and he has a bailiff, which allows him to make lines of sight, rotate holes. And the good thing about Doc, if you do play sight and your teammate is roaming and they need a stem, you can literally just shoot a hole in the floor to heal them. So he's just an easy operator to learn, and he's an easy operator to frag out with. My next pick is going to be Wamai. The reason why I'm picking Wamai is because I feel like as you're getting up into the rankings, especially gold and plat, you're going to see a lot more util like frag grenades, ash charges, etc. And I know for a lot of gold players, I see a lot of mirror played. And since Ash is now able to deal with the mirror windows, you can play Wamai now, and that's a direct counter. You're basically direct countering every single operator that's on attack almost that has utility. So Wamai is always going to be a good pick, as long as you can stay alive and use your util by not stacking all your Wamai discs in one area. Because if someone throws a grenade and it gets caught by a Wamai, it's going to destroy everything in that vicinity. My very last pick for golds is going to be Finir. Now, if Finir isn't banned, he's a lethal pick. As long as you can stay alive and you're a smart player, Finir is super good because you can control the entire map just by looking around and analyzing what your teammates are doing or where the enemies are pushing. There's really no downside to going Finir besides if you're an idiot that likes to spawn peek and run out. My very first pick for platinum players is going to be Smoke. Smoke is one of the best defensive operators in the game, and I feel like by the time you're in platinum, you should really know how to preserve your life to use your utility. Smoke isn't only an operator where you should wait the last 20 seconds to use the smoke canisters though. Like, that's a very big misconception. Smoke is one of the operators where you can really contest map control and make it a pain in the ass for attackers to get inside the map or take advantage of certain angles. So using Smoke, if you want to play passive, sure, but if you want to play aggressive, Smoke gives you that ability with his overall kit. Next is going to be Melusi, and you're going to start seeing a lot of Melusi on today's video for going up into the ranks. And that's because Melusi is honestly one of those operators that you can't go wrong with, and she's so freaking annoying to play against. So bringing a Melusi has every advantage. The only disadvantage is you're a big chubby girl that is loud when you run around. But you have the MP5 with an ACOG. Your gadgets, even if you die early on, they're there. So it really doesn't matter if you're an aggressive type player who likes to spawn peek, because as long as you put down your utility, you're going to do something for the team. And last but not least, my last pick for platinum players is definitely going to be Mirror. The reason why I'm saying Mirror is because with Mirror is one of those operators who changed the landscape of the defensive side. So you can literally make pinch points, long angles with Mirror, with her shotgun, and then place a Mirror, and you can control the entire map. It's a pain in the ass to deal with mirrors unless you can go below and pop it, but as long as you are placing your mirrors in good areas, you can be lethal, especially having a Vector, which is one of the highest rate of fire guns on defense, mixed with a C4 and just rotate capability and lines of sight. You bring a lot of punch with this operator. Starting out with Emerald, my very first pick is going to be a zombie. I waited to put a zombie up on this list, up into this rank, because I feel like a lot of people have a very minimal understanding of how to really capitalize on map control, on defense in the lower ranks, and not because their IQ, but more or less because the way that enemies push in the lower ranks. It's very random and it sucks. So I feel like once you get into Emerald lobbies, you're now likely to play champs and diamonds, and a really good way to rank up is by using Azami. You can control the map on defense from wherever. If you're going to play in sight, you can cut off some common lines of sight that's going to make it difficult for the attackers, or you can even roam and get extensions with Azami barriers. Azami is really good with operators like Aruni, Jaeger, and Wamai, and much more, just because the lack of utility usage that can deny your Azami barriers. Keep in mind, people can shoot your Azami barriers though now, so that does suck. And next is going to be Mute. Mute is, like I said before, one of the best operators in the game. Being able to deny every type of piece of utility, and especially mainly drones, is the primary reason why I'm saying this operator. Mute is so freaking good. So if you're not using him in these ranks, you should definitely try to capitalize them. Use your Mute jammers at the start of the round to place it around common drone spots, and then you should be able to deny multiple drones and then kill the drone economy from the attackers. Next is going to be Melusi. Melusi, I can't get enough of how overpowered Melusi is. Her having 3 wubs, MP5 KF ACOG, and just a bulletproof cam, you bring so much intel for your teammates, and just being able to slow down enemies in certain parts of the map make her like you're mindless if you're not using her. In Diamond, my very first pick would be Solus. Solus is hands down the intel god, especially with shields being buffed. You're able to see, for example, Blitz wherever he is on the map, and you just get unlimited amount of intel while on their drones. Solus is very good late round, but she's just as good at the start of the round just for early drones. Being able to kill drone economy is super important in Siege, and it's something that's very underused. A lot of people will only use Solus late round, but using Solus early on in the round and killing drone economy in sight, it can tell you a lot of information of where the enemies are going to be pushing, or even where their drones are set up, which will also tell you where they're pushing. My next pick is going to be Tubby. Tubby is one of the newest operators in Rainbow Six Siege, but I feel like I don't see a lot of lower ranks use him or use him right. Tubby isn't only for walls. Being able to freeze a wall is great, but Tubby's utility does so much. For example, allowing yourself to basically not get called, not get lion scan, not get a lot of utility that's universal is super useful because you can just freeze yourself. You can also do many different cool tricks, like for example, freezing air jabs, freezing claymores. You can freeze almost about everything and deny their utility, which is super cool. Did I mention that he has a C4 and a DMR on defense, which DMRs on defense are super powerful because you can just hold an angle and basically two-shot somebody. My next pick is going to be Melusi. Not a surprise here, Melusi is a great operator. Just being able to contest map control is a game changer with operators like Melusi and, for example, like Legion. But what Melusi does better than most of trap operators is she's not only just intel, she can also just slow enemies down. So being able to slow champ and diamond players is super resourceful because a lot of players in this ranking are super aggressive. Especially for you console players that play against sim players, Melusis are super overpowered. And for champs, I don't know why you're watching this video. You should know what operators play. But I'm assuming maybe you want to get into high champ and you don't want to be a rank 2.0 champ. So starting out, my very first pick would be Castle. And yes, Castle. Any good player knows how to use Castle to its full potential. And I personally think that Castle is an S tier operator just because of the damage and contest ability that you have for the attackers. As long as you're able to not troll your stack by castling off site and extending map control and contesting, Castle can be literally one of the best defenders. My next pick is certainly going to be Wamai. The reason why I'm picking Wamai is I feel like he's very underused and people are still adjusting from the TDM meta, but Wamai really denies every piece of util that's going to be important. Like for example, flash grenades, even ash charges for mirror windows. The operator Symmetry, that operator just works very well with literally every single operator on defense to protect utility. A lot of people might say Jaeger's better, but I personally think Wamai is better overall because Wamai can catch utility and even destroy it if it's frag grenades or whatnot. And if the enemy has a fuse, you can place a Wamai gadget on the roof and could even destroy himself. And last but not least, my last pick is going to be Melusi for champs. Melusi is such a good operator. Like, I can't get enough of her. I can't suggest her enough for players if they want to rank up. So the reason why I'm saying Melusi is because you're going to play a lot of aggressive players, and if they don't use their utility properly on attack to destroy Melusi devices, she's going to be a very lethal operator and going to be super helpful late round. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys like, sub, and comment, and let me know what operators you would suggest to every single rank, or what operator that you're maining at the moment. If you watch to the very end, thank you so much, and let me know down in the comments by saying cat socks. Besides that, guys, have a lovely day, and thank you so much for watching.